Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of our weekly MMA talk show, Chokes and Eye Pokes. I'm your host, Vern. I'm joined by my co-host, Jack. How's it going, Jack?
Yeah, it's going good. I'm really excited for this one. I think we got a lot to talk about.
No, 100%. Interesting week again, as always.
Yeah.
There's some fights that we got to run through right off the bat. The UFC Fight Night was quite an interesting event, eh?
Yeah, I mean, the main event with Kara France. Ooh, who did you have winning?
I think I said Albazi last minute, remember? I had Cara France. I think we both had Cara France, and then I just said to be different, I had Albazi. And luckily, I picked Albazi because he ended up winning. Yeah. Rather controversially, if you believe some people. Yeah. But we'll get to that controversy in a second. I just want to run through the fights heading up to that first. So we had Karine Silva and Ketlin Souza. I think we both said Karine Silva. Mm-hmm. On that one, so we both got that one right. Nice. She won by a knee bar in the first round. Tim Elliott, that was the one that you picked, beat Victor Altamirano.
But the original fight that we predicted was cancelled, right? That was against I can't remember.
That was Jim Miller. Jim Miller was cancelled.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. This one I picked Altamirano and you picked Tim Elliott.
Yeah, he was convincing. It was really nice to see. He was pretty harsh on himself after the fight. It sounds like he at least thinks that he's capable of more. So I mean, it seemed pretty dominant to me.
Yeah, I had Altamirano winning, and I actually still remember saying however he wants to. So I'm quite surprised by that one. I didn't see it going that way. So yeah, good victory by Tim Elliott. Okay, the Jim Miller fight was against Gordon. That got cancelled sort of last minute. So Jesse Butler filled in. For 23 seconds. The poor guy.
Debut as well.
Yeah, shame.
Yeah, shame. I mean, but like, wow. I mean, just like Jim Miller. Sorry, I always said Jim Elliott. No, yeah. Jim Miller, like at what's he like 40? Like
pushing, pretty close to it.
Like amazing, like to see like he aged like a fine wine. Jeez.
I just hope like Jesse Butler, look, you risk nothing, you gain nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But shame, man, 23 seconds. I just hope psychologically that doesn't mess with him.
Yeah.
We all obviously if you lose so quickly, it can happen to anybody, but you didn't really get to showcase much of his skill. So hopefully he just kind of wipes that one clean and rebounds in the next one. Yeah. Bruce Leroy won his one. Alex Caceres, I think we both had that, beat Daniel Pineda. Unanimous decision as well. Good performance by Alex.
Yeah, like pretty competitive fight. Like I think I saw it being more of a dominant victory in the prediction, but like it was an interesting one.
Still got the job done. I think Alex on the balance of things. Fairly convincingly, but competitive fight, I think. More competitive than both of us thought.
Yeah.
And then the main event, Amir Albazi. Luckily, I switched last minute.
We should have bet.
Yeah, we should have bet. I would have won on that one. Albazi beating Cara France via split decision. 3 rounds to 2. So split decision is a little bit of a weird one. How did you have that fight going?
I had it to Kai. It was definitely like a competitive fight. I mean, like rounds 2 and 3, I scored to Albazi, and then 4 and 5 Kai, and then that first round, that to me, I think Kai won. I think that it was a competitive fight, absolutely, but like I think he was more active. and he got more significant strikes, and I think he did more. I think he did more throughout the fight. To me, it feels like a robbery. And you, like the same thing?
I don't see it as a robbery, to be honest with you. I mean, like, it's debatable who won. Like, I'm with you. I think rounds 2 and 3, Albazi definitely won those. I mean, in the second round, he had control for about 4.5 minutes of that fight. Yes, Kai came back and ended the round strong, but it's 30 seconds versus 4 minutes, so it's not really... I mean, you can't really compare the two. And Albazi almost got the submission. I mean, he did have it clasped in.
Tight.
It was tight. So he came the closest to actually finishing the fight. Round 3 was very close, but I think because of the octagon control, and Albazi pushing it, I think he just edged that one for me. Yeah. Round 4 and 5, you could see Kai really upped his output and just outworked Albazi. So definitely rounds 4 and 5, and then visibly got more significant strikes.
Yeah.
That was the big thing for me. Round 1's where the toss-up comes, because I think Kai, probably on the balance of things, Kai probably won that fight because he won round 1.
Yeah.
But if you make the case for Albazi, either way, it's 3-2. So it's a 48-47. So to me, it's not a big robbery or controversy in the fact that Kai Kara-France handily won like 4 rounds.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, I mean that. Yeah, well, we'll get to the judges' scorecards, but that Chris Lee, I the only way that it makes sense to me is for him to for his scorecards to make sense. For the first round, he scored that to Kai, and then for the 4th round, he scored that to Albazi, which like doesn't make
never. There's I'm sorry.
chance.
There's no world where Albazi won the 4th round. No.
So like I don't know, maybe at that point you're like. You're a judge. You see where this is going. You think that Albazi should have won because of that submission attempt. Like I don't know. Just like where does the efficacy of like judging come in then?
Yeah, it's a weird one because I don't know. It's obviously very subjective.
Yeah.
So even though there's a set criteria of how you're supposed to judge a fight, it's still subjective. It's been a lot of weird decisions previously. But yeah, the consistency just a lot of the times is lacking, like you say now, because if you have Kai winning round 1, then I would have maybe Kai winning like round 3 because it was closer, maybe, if you're going to have it on the balance of things.
Yeah.
But round 4, dude, there's no chance.
Yeah.
Like Albazi was completely outworked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you saw Israel Adesanya said that was like the biggest robbery, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bit like emotional because it's his teammate.
It's his teammate. Yeah. I mean, he said it was 4-1 as well. I don't see that. Like, I can get that you can pick either of them to win.
Yeah.
So 3-2. Like, it is a 48-47 fight either way.
No, yeah, agreed.
But, to say it's this massive robbery, I don't know. I mean... Yeah. Look, the another thing is also if you scored on significant strikes, yes, of course, Kai Kara-France had many more. But watching the fight, like if you didn't tell me he had more significant strikes, I wouldn't be able to tell you that was the case.
Yeah, because they're not landing flush, or just like
you just look at the two fighters and the damage just doesn't. I mean, Albazi's nose is a bit busted and whatever, but I mean, you wouldn't say like, "Oh, that was a big shot. Now he's backing up," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So. I think it was close, but I do agree with Izzy that you've got to interview the judges afterwards. I think that would be time consuming.
Yeah, but worthwhile.
It'd be worthwhile. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of sports you've got to interview the referees as well.
Yeah, I mean, like who are these? Who are these like 3 just men making these like choices? You know? It's like for Kai now, for him to make it back into like title contention. Like I mean, if he had won this, I think he would have been right back in the picture. But now it's going to be like a much longer road, and like. I mean, it would just be cool to hear someone like justify their choices. Not to say they're wrong, but just like to like hear their thought processes. Yeah.
Speaking of their choices, let's have a look at what the judges actually scored the fights like round for round, judge for judge.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first score was Chris Lee.
Yeah.
So round 1, 10-9 to Kai. Okay, fair enough. Round 2, 10-9 to Albazi. I'm in agreement there. Round 3, 10-9 to Albazi. I'm in agreement there as well. This is the one that you said, 10-9 to Albazi in round 4.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
In what world?
Yeah, that's just like the most inconsistent.
Okay, I'd love to know why. I mean, if they could get like at the very least. I mean, I'm looking at the official scorecards here. They just have the scorecard and the result. There's no like report or anything like that,
Like not even a note. You get that for like a high school like karate tournament.
Yeah, like 0 notes, And then 10-9 in the 5th round to Kai. Okay, I agree with that. But if you have what we think is you see, it's weird. Did I say 10-9 to Kai for the first one? He actually had. Yes, he did. I'm looking at Sol Diamado's one. Okay, So yeah, if you switch that round 4 over to Kai, then it's 48-47 Kai, and then it's.
But how do you think it works? Because do you think that once they score a round, then that's set in stone? Like, is that like it?
I don't think it's set in stone. Like, I think you could, like, you'd have to actually remember, like, round 2, I wanted to actually think about it. Is it now a 10-9 or like, what?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's not a case of like you got your piece of paper and you hand it in for the round for round. I don't think so.
Yeah.
It looks like you give them all at the end. But unless you remember to be like, you know what? No, actually, he did this in round 2. Let me switch it.
Yeah.
I think they can still do that.
Mm.
But to go and do that in a live event with a big crowd with pressure, I mean, I think
Absolutely.
they've kind of locked it in once they've finished the round.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, look, Sol D'Amato is probably one of the most famous names in the judging world. 10-9 Albazi round 1. Okay, so I mean the opposite.
It was a very competitive fight. I can see how someone would score that to Albazi. Yeah.
Then 10-9 to Albazi round 2, 10-9 to Albazi round 3, 100% agree. 10-9 to Kai Kara France in rounds 4 and 5, 100% agree. So this one switched to so 2-4 in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
But so round 1 is where it swayed. So that's I mean that's fair enough. I think Sol D'Amato probably did a good job on the balance of things there. So
yeah, in all honesty,
no complaints there, Sol D'Amato. Then we've got Mike Bell, who actually I think also did a good job because Mike Bell scored rounds 2 to 5 the same. So 10-9 for rounds 2 and 3 to Albazi, and 10-9 for rounds 4 and 5 to Kara France.
Yeah.
Round 1, 10-9 to Kara France as well. Yeah. So he obviously thought that Kai did more in round 1.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that the major controversies with Chris Lee, that's the big one.
Yeah, I'm wondering how you fix things like this, because it's, it's a third judge that went and did it. You can't do a fourth and a fifth judge because it can happen all the same.
Yeah.
Do you then
public appeal?
I don't know. No, I don't think you should get the public involved because people are going to. I mean, because then Conor McGregor would win all decisions probably, or Khabib would win all his. Or he does win all his decisions anyway, but it would be swayed by public opinion. I don't think that's.
Yeah.
Maybe they should introduce a 9-9 round. Like that round 3, in my eyes, was a draw. I couldn't pick a winner in that round 3 really.
Yeah.
So you've got to make a split decision choice and say you get 10 and you get 9.
Yeah, but you never really see. You don't see that often. Tied matchups. Or tied decisions.
Yeah, the only time you really... So the way it's structured, you get 3 rounds or 5 rounds. So it's an odd number there. You've got to really, really, really batter somebody to get a 10-8.
Okay, yeah.
And that's when it starts to... Or it's either a 10-8 round, because then you offset the odd numbers to the loser. Or it's a points deduction that gets you a draw. So if you think about it, it's 10-9 or 10-8. So 10-9, if you win all 3 rounds, is 30-27. If you win at least 2 rounds, it's 29-28.
Yeah.
To make it equal, you've got to either deduct a point or you've got to lose a round 10-8 and then win the other 2 10-9.
Yeah.
So that's where the judging is good because it's
it prevents lots of ties.
It's really hard to get a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boxing's ties, I don't see. I mean, I guess.
More frequent than MMA,
but boxing has a similar system in the scoring. Boxing is a tie because it's 12 rounds or 8 rounds. I think it's because it's an even number more than it. MMA is an odd number, so the likelihood is far less in MMA. But yeah, it just does raise the question. I mean, we've seen some dodgy decisions in previous years. There's some people thought Gastelum and Izzy was dodgy. I mean, I don't. That brings significant strikes into it actually.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the 2 fighters afterwards, Izzy's face was like a balloon. But he landed more significant strikes. So who did the more damage and who had the better chance of winning the fight?
Yeah, I mean, well, in that case, I do think Izzy should have won. I mean, Gastelum, big fan, but I don't know. Just technically, if you analyze the fight afterwards, I do think Izzy deserved to win, but I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying.
Because, I mean, the thing is, okay, he did actually hurt Gastelum, so just maybe Gastelum's face doesn't bruise up and all of that. So, but, yeah, I mean, some of the other more dodgy decisions, I think it would be a good idea to have a look at, my top 3 kind of one is...
Absolutely.
So we can see how people, could look at trying to change weird judging decisions, because, I mean, it just leaves a sour taste in everybody's mouth when there's a weird decision like this,
I'm game. Let's do it.
Okay, so the first one, I don't know if you remember, John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson, their first fight.
Yeah, and also Reyes. That's another one.
Okay, Reyes. Yeah. So John Jones has 2 kind of, well, don't want to throw him under the bus, but OSP also was a little bit touch and go. So anyway.
Yeah.
Versus Alexander Gustafsson.
I agree. That was like the first fight in particular. Yeah. I mean, second fight, I do think he won. I think he got enough done. But yeah, first fight, I remember watching it the first time. And yeah, I do think like Alexander won. Yeah.
I think didn't he knock him out in the second fight? Gustafsson got knocked out in the second fight. Yeah. And then Dominic Reyes as well. There was another one that was a little bit. Dominic Reyes was. I mean, it's these tall, lengthy guys that actually could stand and hang with John Jones.
Yeah.
Those were some dodgy decisions, but I think in those instances, you've got to beat the champion like decisively to actually win the title, which I also think is a really stupid. It's a really stupid rule. I think it should just be on the balance of.
Like, do you beat this person?
You beat them on the night. That's it.
Yeah.
There's also GSP versus Johnny Hendricks. I think was one of the biggest
huge upset. And that makes a lot of sense. How do you? I mean, it was just nice for GSP to come back then afterwards. It is like build a story, I suppose, which is like a silver lining.
I mean, look, Hendricks pieced him up properly in that fight. I mean, his face was busted, and GSP did a good job, but Hendricks was the clear winner in that fight. Yeah. I mean, there was no contest.
Yeah.
Then another sort of these are real, like in my opinion, these are real robberies. Like this is why I say, is he saying it's the biggest robbery? Like it doesn't even come close to these three. But the biggest for me was Machida versus Shogun, their first fight.
Okay.
I mean, so at that time, Machida was like untouchable because no one could figure out his style yet. He had this weird, awkward karate style that, was catching a lot of people, especially when they were coming in.
Yeah.
And Shogun just had that proper like Muay Thai, keep your hands up high and just start chopping away at the legs. And it was like blatantly like Shogun won that fight.
Yeah.
And I even think it was a unanimous decision for Lyoto Machida, if I remember correctly.
I can't remember. But yeah. So, I mean, like, yeah.
That's a big robbery. So I think if you look at the top, I think those are like 3 or 4 of the top, like proper, actual, real robberies. Like when we're talking judges' decisions, like I think Adesanya is emotional about his teammate.
Yeah.
And he made a good point about interviewing the judges and everything. But I think if you compare it to those 3, and those are 3 of like 20 that you can name that are like proper robberies.
No.
The nice thing is, at least for Shogun, he came back and had a fight straight away, and he put an exclamation point and knocked out Machida in the second fight.
I mean, like, I don't think Kai versus Albazi straight rematch doesn't make any sense.
I don't want to see that fight again. I'm sorry. That fight, like, it was competitive, but I felt like they're both holding back until the like 4th and 5th round when Kai kind of pushed the action. But even then, he should have thought like, I could be behind on the scorecards. I need to try finish. And he only really tried to finish him in the last 20 seconds or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what happens next for Kai Kara France now. It's a long road back to the title. Absolutely. If he wants to get there.
I mean, for Albazi though, is he in title contention now? I would, maybe like one more fight. I think he's close.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, who's standing between him and Moreno and the title? The title picture. Kai Kara France really was. So yeah. Okay, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but interesting fight night.
Yeah, interesting fight night, definitely.
Yeah, so there's a couple of interesting topics that revolve around Jake Paul and Conor McGregor on either side, but I think let's start with Jake Paul and Conor McGregor. I don't know if you saw that Jake Paul wants to now box
I did.
Conor McGregor in the future again.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't happen. And I actually do mean that. That's not a fight that entertains me at all. I think that it's like similar to the Jake Paul fight with Floyd Mayweather. Sorry. Floyd. That I don't know. Have you seen like all the clips afterwards where it's Jake Paul like it's an exhibition? I just don't believe it's really competitive.
I don't know. I don't think. I mean, I don't think. Why would Conor McGregor box with Jake Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you? 1, you're the A side. So you can actually dictate the terms. And 2, there's just zero upside besides people being happy that Jake Paul would lose. But people have already seen Jake Paul lose and he's still there. Yeah. So what would you have to do? Would you have to like flatline the guy, Yeah. And then what happens if you don't flatline? Like, I think Conor McGregor's tarnished his legacy a little bit with some of the like last couple of fights where he should have probably not fought.
Yeah.
But that would really, really tarnish his legacy if he went in. I mean, they'd have to offer him like $500 million to do it.
Yeah. And I don't think they would generate that. Like, I don't think. How much did they get paid for the Floyd Mayweather fight? That was like in the order of 100 mil.
McGregor and Mayweather.
No, Jake Paul and Mayweather.
No, so Logan Paul fought Mayweather.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
And I think, so actually Logan Paul was told he would get 20 million and he claims that Floyd pays him in drips and drabs.
Yeah.
So he still owed 20 million from his purse.
Mm.
So he was supposed to get about, I don't know, 30 or 40 or something like that, 20 to 40, whatever it was in that range. And he didn't even get the last 20.
Yeah.
And Mayweather supposedly got 100. So.
Yeah, I don't like those fights. I don't think that they make sense. I mean, it's like why? You know, who's watching them? I mean, a lot of people are watching them, but like, why?
Apparently not so many, hey? Like they say there was like 600,000 or 300,000 buys in the last
the Jake Paul one.
Jake Paul, yeah. With Tommy Fury.
Yeah. Apparently there was also it's I saw on social media that the stands were not as full as like they were advertised to be. Yeah.
So maybe I don't know, you know, Conor McGregor's looking at like bare knuckle and then he's like all over the place. He kind of does what he wants to. So I don't know what his contract situation is with the UFC. Maybe they somehow wrangle it in that super fight division in PFL, but I highly doubt it.
Yo, that'd be amazing though.
Yeah. In MMA, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Jake Paul get ragdoll in MMA. But speaking of his, also Jake Paul's next fight is with Nate Diaz, supposed to be August 5th. Yeah. But I don't know if you saw that Nate Diaz is trying to get it moved from Texas to either Las Vegas or New York.
I didn't. Do
you know what the reason is?
What's the reason?
What is Nate Diaz known for besides MMA?
It's got to be weed.
It's smoking weed. He wants to get an exemption. He wanted to get an exemption in Texas to smoke weed and still fight. And they said no. I mean, he even tried to light up in front of a cop in Texas, and they were like, you can't do that here, right?
Oh, I love that dude.
Yeah. So he's trying to get it. He's trying to get it to Las Vegas or New York.
Okay. I mean, power to him. Like, do you think he wins? Who do you have in that fight?
I mean, so a lot of people in the boxing world are saying boxing is dodgy enough for people to have a clause in their contract.
Yeah.
To rig the fight.
Oh, okay. To say that he can't win.
Well, not to say that he can't win, but to take a fall. To get there. A lot of people say that Tyron Woodley and Ben Askren took falls in their fights. Allegedly. So, I mean, it depends.
Yeah. Tommy Fury didn't. I don't know. That would be pretty heartbreaking just because, like, Nate, I mean, like, to me, he feels like super real. I would really hope that that's not the case.
I hope so, but hey, dude, money, everyone's got a price, you know, so who knows? Yeah, Jake Paul, man. I don't know what your thoughts are on his fights in general, you know, and picking his opponents and things like that.
His last fight with Tyson Fury.
Tommy.
That would have
Tyson would have.
That would have been a better fight to watch.
It wouldn't have been a fight, actually. It would have just been over so quickly.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that one because he lost. I think he showed a lot of humility. I like those fights more than the other ones that he's had. So with Ben Askren and like Tyron Woodley, because like I don't know that those. He fought an actual boxer. I like that. Like, if you want to box, like, fight someone that knows how to box. You know, that's, like, trained how to box. And you? What are your thoughts?
Look, I think, first of all, Jake Paul's very smart. So, like, if you look at boxers, and he kind of said this, like, can you name Floyd Mayweather's fifth opponent?
No.
A lot of people can't.
Yeah.
Can people name Mike Tyson? Maybe Mike Tyson because he was a little bit more, you know, in the history and things like that, being further back. But like, what you see with boxing is the people pay their dues and build their record up in the first, sometimes up to 15 fights.
Yeah.
So what Jake Paul's doing is, first of all, boxers don't get paid a lot in those fights because no one knows them. They're not draws unless they're like Olympic gold medalists or something, you know, like Joshua.
Yeah. And
even he wasn't getting the money Jake Paul's getting. So he's getting a lot of money to fight. That's the first thing.
And build his career.
And get ring time. All the same. I mean, if he was fighting young boxers, it's a bigger risk, obviously, because they're skilled.
Yeah.
But he's also building his name and building his reputation with the casual fan.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is, if you look at like all his opponents, Nate Diaz, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, Nate Diaz, UFC legend. Everybody, casual fans know Nate Diaz, especially after. I mean, people that don't know a thing about MMA will tell you about the vegan guy that beat Conor McGregor. There's a vegan documentary about it.
Yeah.
They know Nate Diaz. I might not know his name, but they know him.
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley, former UFC champion. People know, oh, geez, UFC, this guy's hardcore. Like, some people still think it's human cockfighting and they're like fighting in a cage, like an actual cage.
Yeah.
Ben Askren was like Olympic alternate, UFC, not a striker in any sense.
Yeah, and famous for the Jorge Masvidal like KO, yeah.
So they're famous names. It's bringing eyes to the sport, and he's making a boatload of cash while he's getting that ring time, because it's all fine and well when you're training to try to get used to like fighting, but when you're in there, it's a complete different story. So he's doing the smart thing, I think. I think it's good for boxing all around. People might disagree.
Eyes on the sport.
Exactly. Now he's campaigning with the whole fighter pay story, which people are either for it or against it.
Yeah, wants to start like a commission, or what do you call it? Like a union.
Yeah, so he wants to start a union for MMA. He campaigned to get more money for certain boxes as well already.
Yeah.
Which I think is good. And yeah, he's doing good things. But like with PFL now. He's going to bring more eyes to PFL. Yeah. They've got a super fight division. Like that super fight division, I'm really interested to see what happens there.
Imagine a crossover episode with the UFC as well. Like that's where you can have the Ngannou versus Jones fight.
Yeah.
Like have one card with just like an insane amount of matchups. Like just dreams.
Yeah, I wish they would be able to do that, but the problem is that essentially Dana White is the organization or the UFC. Like it's
PFL's like a disgruntled employee.
There's no MMA organization. There's no like MMA body, if you know what I mean. So they don't. I mean, they belong to like they don't belong to athletic commissions, but they're different companies.
Yeah,
it's almost like having a Apple and Samsung in a cell phone, like shootout. Unfortunately, I don't think that will ever happen, but it would be very cool. If it's so funny now because now Logan Paul is trying to do the whole UFC thing and he's sponsoring the UFC through Prime, and I got Jake Paul on the PFL side.
Yeah,
those two, I'm telling you, if there's someone that can make it happen, it's those two.
Those two.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you see Jake Paul or Logan Paul's new sponsored athletes?
Yeah, I saw the sponsored athletes.
Yeah. What do you think? It's the
Volk and Izzy.
Yeah.
Listen, my honest opinion on Prime. I mean, I went and got Prime when it came to South Africa. I bought all the flavors.
Yeah,
not a fan. Like, I mean, if it was the same price as Enerjade, I'd buy it.
For the South African viewers, what would you akin it to in terms of the flavor for another drink?
So for the South African viewers that haven't tried it, picture like Enerjade concentrate, the big. That big bottle of concentrate that makes 5 liters.
Yeah.
Now picture that with no water. There's an aftertaste, a huge aftertaste, like it's massive, and it's very sweet, and it like sits in the back of your throat. I don't know if you've ever had that itch in the back of your throat where the only way you can't scratch, you can't anything, you got to like whack it with your tongue.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Okay. It doesn't. Okay, I'm not gonna say it doesn't sound great because that sounds great, but like
really,
it doesn't sound too great.
Yeah, and I mean, especially being 40 rand. I mean, I think if one thing, Prime. Just on a little side note, Prime actually made me appreciate Enerjade much more.
Okay.
Like I'm willing to pay 12 rand for Enerjade now, as opposed to 40 rand for a bottle of Prime.
Yeah.
I think it was a craze, that people went through.
The spas were crazy.
Yeah, it was very crazy, but. They sponsored Volkanovski and Izzy now. They must be paying them boatloads of cash to do that.
Yeah.
Because to have the association with them, I don't know if it's the best thing to do in MMA at the moment. Like they've got a bit of a little bit of a negative thing against Jake Paul and Logan Paul. I know Jake Paul's not involved with Prime, but yeah, Jake Paul, Logan Paul's trying to get his skills up now. He was grappling with him and everything. So
yeah, with Volk, let's see.
Props to him and Izzy. I know he did. Everyone was going on about him being a Division 1 wrestler and all that kind of stuff. He was a high school wrestler actually, But you could just see the golf in class. I know you're looking at the greatest middleweight champion probably ever, but he's trying to get his skills up. He's asked for a UFC fight. I would give it to him.
That would be interesting. It would be better than
CM Punk.
Yeah, CM Punk.
They did it. They gave CM Punk one.
Yeah.
So why not give one to Logan Paul?
Yeah.
Logan Paul's at least got like proper skills.
Yeah.
He's got the boxing. He's got enough wrestling, I think. I mean, he can move. I mean, he was training with Paulo Costa at one stage.
Yeah.
I don't think Paulo Costa was going 100%, but
yes. And but he's in the WWE now, so similar to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, listen,
not similar to Brock Lesnar.
His WWE career is like, dude, the guy's a natural. Like his matches, he looks like he's wrestled for like 15 years. I mean, they say he rehearses his matches like months in advance, but still, dude, just go watch some of the spots that guy's doing. Jumping off the top rope onto the outside table. Doing big, like they did this spot where he was on the one side of the ring on the rope and another guy on another side, and they jumped and they both clotheslined each other. They were probably like 15 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And then they both hit the mat. Like that's a hard spot.
Yeah.
So look, he's athletic, he's talented, but I don't know. They're probably not going to give him a spot in the UFC, but they should.
Yeah.
Just one fight.
Yeah.
Make a lot of money, put him up against whoever.
Light heavyweight.
I think middleweight probably. Maybe light heavyweight. No, light heavyweight's 205. He's like in the 190, so he'll probably make 185. Yeah. But I think he's smart. I think what they've managed to actually bring Floyd Mayweather out of retirement for an exhibition. Prime, whether you like it or not, made a boatload of cash as well.
Yeah.
Back to Jake Paul being super smart with his stuff.
Good businessman, like if anything. Yeah.
If anything, they're going to retire and have more money than they know what to do with. So I do think, though, one time or another, people are going to get sick of Jake Paul doing these easy fights and fighting these MMA guys, and they might have already come to that point, and they're going to say, fight a proper fighter.
Yeah.
And that's why he's calling out Conor, I think. He's trying to get the big payday, and that's why he's calling out Canelo. But I don't think those fights. Canelo won't happen. Conor's also calling Canelo out, but Canelo knows.
Yeah.
He knows that it's for a payday and it's for notoriety.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't want to see that fight.
None of the fights we just...
Yeah,
none of them, no. Okay, so speaking of Conor, because there's a lot of things that are happening with Conor, Michael Chandler and Conor... it might be in jeopardy, the fight. I want to read the quote from Dana White. He said, the one thing that you guys have to understand is this kid has got so much money. It's like Khabib now. These guys have got boatloads of money, said a different word, of money, and it's hard to reel these guys in and get them into fight.
Yeah.
So obviously talking about Conor McGregor.
Yeah. Man, that would just be so bleak if like they do the whole tough season and like there's this massive build up and they don't fight.
I mean, I just don't know why Conor McGregor would want to fight Michael Chandler.
I feel like it makes some sense. Not the most. I mean, if he's trying to get like to the welterweight title. I mean, at middleweight though as well. So I don't know
how. I'll take that with a pinch of salt. Conor McGregor is not. I don't think he makes middleweight that easily. Like I think it'll be very small. It's like when he fought welterweight against Nate Diaz.
Yeah. I do also think like he's put on size now, but he's out of shape. Like I think he's going to lose that really quickly. I think if he wanted to make welterweight, I think if he wanted to make lightweight, he probably could.
I think so. Yeah. Well, he might. I mean, the thing is, you never know with Conor McGregor because he makes so much money for the UFC because there's only so few fights left. I mean, for him to do. I mean, what else really makes sense besides maybe trying to push him for a welterweight title?
Yeah.
So.
That would be interesting. I would still like to see him versus Kamaru.
No,
Kamaru
no. Oh, for that reason.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Kamaru would destroy him.
Yeah.
He would probably take his soul. Like picture Khabib, but worse for Conor.
Yeah.
Like I'd venture to say there's probably like a 3% chance Conor wins that fight, and that's puncher's chance.
Yeah.
And even now, I don't even know if that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I hear like a one of those matchups and like it's very hypothetical, it just like stays with me and I want to watch it because like they had their back and forth like a while back, and it's just like if that fight had taken place, it just would have been so quick.
Yeah. Well, although I mean, if Kamaru Usman decides he wants to punish him, then
Yeah, do
you know,
5 rounds.
5 rounds are just punishment.
Yeah,
I think Tyron Woodley would have also. Oh well, at the time, again, even at the time when Conor was like in his sort of like untouchable phase, I
Yeah.
still think Woodley would have
would have
murdered him.
Oh, hectic.
Murdered him, my opinion, but you never know. He's
Yeah.
too big, too strong.
Mm.
But they reckon now Colby is pushing for that McGregor fight.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense for Colby. I feel
Yeah.
like for him to campaign for it. I mean,
Mm.
like that's big payday. I wouldn't really want to see that. If he goes to like welterweight, like that's not the fight that I'd pick.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him against Colby Covington. I don't. Colby Covington is just gonna take him into deep waters and
Yeah.
like properly break him.
Yeah.
But if Colby wins the title against Leon Edwards, which he possibly could do, that's something that Conor McGregor might do, is try to fight for that belt, because he's spoken about that for years.
Yeah. The 3 belts.
The 3 belts.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he can't beat Colby. I think Colby's too like the cardio would be insane. I think the pace, it would be worse than Nate Diaz one. Like yeah, I don't see him handling that.
Yeah, especially at a heavier weight.
Yeah.
Where he's got to carry all that extra weight.
Yeah.
I mean, punch his chance again, but like he's not going to stop the takedown.
Mm.
I mean, you're not going to stop the takedown against a bigger dude. I mean,
Yeah.
he struggled to stop it against people in lightweight sometimes. So Colby's chin is good, so he probably won't. I mean, Conor's...
He did break his chin. It was that the last Kamaru fight.
The first one.
First one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So, yeah, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do that. I don't think they should do that fight.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Only time will tell. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not things... I think Conor, I'm not going to say he should retire, but...
No, he should.
I think he should have already.
Yeah, he should. I mean, it's nice to see him like around again for like some entertainment factor, but yeah.
That's crazy. He hasn't fought for 2 years and everyone's still trying to call him out. He's still the biggest name, essentially, in MMA.
Documentary now.
Yeah. He's still the biggest money fight in the whole of MMA.
Yeah.
Probably in the whole, not in combat sports, like, but in MMA. And that's just crazy. It goes to show how big a star he is, like, in the world of MMA. So yeah, I don't know if you saw, there was Jose Enrique was supposed to make his UFC debut and straight away got whacked with the 2-year USADA ban.
I did. Yeah, shame, poor kid. He's like 20.
20 years old.
Yeah, so he's like 2 years off. And it's the case that if you declare it beforehand, then it's 6 months, and it's like essentially like a slap on the wrist. I don't know, like why do you think that they do like a 2-year suspension? I
don't know. They've done 4-year suspensions before for people. I know, like locally, there was a fighter here. I think he was still in EFC or just before he left overseas. He got a 4-year ban for doping. I don't know if it's severity based, or what. I mean, there's probably different tiers for different things. I mean, how long did they ban TJ for? Wasn't TJ also banned for like...
I think 2 years.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah. I think so. It feels like it was long back.
Yeah, I felt like it was 4 years, but 2 years. I don't know where they get the number from, because there's obviously long-term gains that you get from doping. So, I mean, do they then feel that 2 years is enough time for it to clear out your system if they regularly test? I mean, are they going to regularly test him now for the next 2 years?
Yeah.
Is he out of the USADA pool? Does he get to enter it again 6 months before his next fight? Like, how does it work?
Yeah. And for someone that young, I mean, like at the start of your career, like, shame. I mean, it is a loss, but I suppose there's nothing else you can really do. Like, you need to like set the precedent.
I wonder why you wouldn't declare it. I mean, you don't want that against your name. And maybe some doctor or something told him, like, listen, don't declare it.
Yeah.
We've got the solution for you. We'll beat it,
Yeah.
But what they also test for is they know now, like, if you want to flush this out of your system, then you use this, and then they test for that. There's also like things like estrogen blockers. So with a lot of the like anabolic stuff, people build up estrogen, so then they get estrogen blockers, and they test for those estrogen blockers.
Yeah.
So you might not have the actual substance in your system, but you've got the things blocking it in your system that they pick up. So, I mean, you can still get banned for that, I guess. But, like, would anybody have known if he had just said to USADA, like, okay, guys, This is what I took.
Especially for your debut, I don't think too many people really care. Like as long as you're in the pool,
Nobody knows. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a big name yet. So,
Yeah.
I mean, why would you not just declare it?
Yeah. But he looked pretty strong. Like it's gonna be a shame. In the contender series, like he looked quite strong. It would be nice if he comes back, like a Mike Tyson type, like as a layoff, and then just like is like very strong and dominant. But yeah, we'll see. Oof.
Yeah, to take 2 years off now. I mean, at least he can still train and all that kind of stuff, but it's not the same.
Yeah, he like in his highlight reel, he's quite sloppy. So like, I mean, another disrespectful episode, but like
no, but you're analyzing. I mean, you know, if you had to knock on him, something. It's yeah.
So he does have stuff to like tighten up. He's got a lot of power, so like maybe he can just like refine his game a lot.
So we did our GOAT list last week. If you haven't seen last week's episode, please go have a look. We did our like top 4, top 5, I think it was. And Khabib just actually came out with his top 5. I want to read you actually his one. It's quite interesting actually because a lot of similarities.
Okay.
So you venture to guess his top 5.
Okay, Demetrius Johnson has got to be on there.
Okay.
GSP's got to be on there.
Yeah.
Anderson Silva's got to be on there.
Okay.
John Jones.
Okay.
Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
Okay. But is that not 5?
He's got 6 in his top 5.
Okay.
So
okay.
Can you guess the 6th one? It's Russian. I'll give you a hint. He's Russian.
Okay. Peter Yan?
Nope. Do you want another hint? Heavyweight.
Russian heavy. Sergey?
No.
Okay.
Can't be. No, that's way too early, bro. Yeah. Fought in Pride. I'll give you the last one. He fought in Pride. Spoke about him last week. Fedor Emelianenko.
Okay, of course.
Yeah, so he's got DC at number 5. Well, I'll just go through the full list, actually. So number 15, he's got Dominic Cruz and / Frankie Edgar.
Okay.
Fair enough. I mean, I guess it's his list, and it depends on eras and...
Yeah. It's cool to give Frankie Edgar some like props.
Yeah. I think at his peak, he was really, really good. And Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
Then number 14, he's got Krokop and Stipe.
Okay.
Krokop, I mean, yeah, I can see it. Stipe, I can see it, I guess. Number 13, he's got Dan Henderson and Shogun. I mean, that's giving them props. I mean, those guys, look, their records, and they fought probably for too long. But like
they paved the way.
They paved the exactly. Yeah, especially in Pride. The Pride days, dude. Shogun in Pride was like, that guy was a beast, dude. Even in his UFC days, and then it was like up and down, but like Pride was just, I think he only had like 2 or 3 losses. I mean, he was really, really good. And Dan Henderson, of course.
Yeah.
Then he's got Randy Couture and Cain Velasquez.
Okay.
Yeah, Randy Couture, I can see. Cain at his peak, especially after he beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And then came back and beat Junior Dos Santos in their second fight.
Yeah.
And then put an exclamation mark in the third one. Okay, and he's got Royce Gracie, Trailblazer. BJ Penn, one of the first people to like really try to fight for. I think he might have been the first to try to fight for 2 titles because he was lightweight champion. Then he went and fought. So he was welterweight champion, dropped down to lightweight. Fought. I think he lost the welterweight belt, won the lightweight belt, and then went up and fought GSP. And then they had the whole Vaseline Gate story.
Yes.
Which I mean, could you imagine if you won 2 belts back then?
Yeah.
I mean, that's superstardom. So fair enough. Number 9, Israel Adesanya.
I do think he deserves to be on the list, yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. He's very technical.
Yeah. He's probably the best middleweight ever after Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
I mean, record-wise and all that, and he did beat Anderson at the tail end of his career and everything, but I think you can't... Anderson Silva's run is just... There's nothing like it.
Yeah,
nothing like it.
Yeah.
Maybe John Jones' run, but like Anderson Silva literally beat the who's who, went up in weight, came down back.
Yeah.
So... Kamaru Usman number 8. Kamaru Usman over Izzy.
I agree with Izzy and then Kamaru.
I think it's because of the he did go and clean his division out twice.
Yes.
At least with some people.
And very dominant.
Number 7, Jose Aldo.
Yeah. Props. Yeah. He was a great champion. Yeah. He was also like a very long run.
Didn't have many fights in that run, but I mean, yeah, he did. And look, I mean, say what you want, Conor McGregor beat him in 13 seconds. It's one of those like possibly. I mean, he was more skillful than Conor probably at that time, had more tools. Let's say, but
definitely.
but take nothing away from Conor McGregor. But that, I mean, you could maybe say like it's too quick.
Yeah.
But then you've got Volkanovski that put an exclamation mark on it afterwards. So
yeah,
maybe. But up until that point, I mean, yes,
yeah,
Jose Aldo,
in their prime.
Yes,
Yeah.
This is probably a prime list, I think, and a trailblazing list as well.
Yeah.
Jose Aldo, and then Henry Cejudo, number 6.
Okay, interesting.
Fair enough. You don't like that?
No. no. Okay, it must make sense. I mean, he's a triple C. He got 2 belts. Okay, I do take that back. I do think probably him above Kamara. Then I would if there's anything.
He's above. Yeah, he's number 6. He did beat Demetrius Johnson as well. I mean, we can't take it away from him. And then went on a tear in 2 weight classes, kind of, even though it was short.
Yeah.
Okay, then number 5, DC. I can see that. If you take John Jones out of the equation, I mean, DC lost essentially to what is considered the light heavyweight GOAT and the heavyweight GOAT.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he held 2 belts.
Yeah.
And
beat Stipe once.
Beat him in the first fight. Lost the second and
lost
third.
The third.
Yeah. Lost the next 2. Demetrius Johnson. Yep. Say what you will about Demetrius Johnson lately. I mean, actually, no, people don't really say many bad things. I mean, he lost in 1 when he started, but went and beat the guy like basically in the same way.
Yeah.
Just also that Rayborg armbar is just something else.
Yeah. Well, have you seen where he gets to like I forgot which fight, but where he gets the Rayborg armbar in the air.
Yeah, that's the one. That's Rayborg who he fought. Suplex to armbar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Anderson Silva GSP. So Anderson Silva number 3, GSP number 2. I mean, on the balance of their careers, yes, but I think prime Anderson Silva, like I said last week, for me over GSP prime.
Yeah.
But interchangeable. And then Fedor and John Jones. I mean, you can see why. Listen, Fedor Emelianenko also is like, I think he's like middle to late 40s if he's not pushing 50.
Yeah.
And he's still winning. I mean, I think he's got 6 losses total in his career, but there was a time where he was like 35-1.
Yeah.
And his only loss came from a cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was unstoppable at one stage.
Yeah.
I mean, there's videos of him getting spiked on his head and then just like going like it's nothing. And just, I mean, Kevin Randleman literally, so he went for a takedown, had his head between Kevin Randleman's legs. Kevin Randleman just literally pile drived him, but like jumped and pile drived him on his head. And then he was just so calm. He got up, he switched, and then he Kimura'd him and won.
No,
he is there. So I can see it. Khabib didn't put himself on there. Obviously, a little bit humble. No, Amanda Nunes.
Oh yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
she is the GOAT. Not heavyweight. The women's GOAT.
Yeah, this could just be a men's only list. I don't know. It doesn't say that anywhere, but pretty solid list though. I mean, I don't have too many. I mean, there's no one else really besides Amanda Nunes. Maybe you could put on here.
Yeah. But if it's a women's one, then I do think there are some names like Holly Holm would be nice to see on there as well.
Ronda Rousey for what she did, I think, for the sport. I mean, look, on the balance of things.
And Rose Namajunas?
Rose. And why does her name escape me now? The one Rose beat.
Wang?
Not Wang. Man. Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, of course.
Why did that escape me for so long? Yeah, she's also up there. And Shevchenko.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shevchenko. I mean, she arguably won the second fight with Amanda Nunes and being much smaller. So could be added to that as well, I think. Okay, so UFC 289 this weekend. I think we need to have a look at this one. This is also going to be. I've just got the main card here, so the 5 main card fights.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go prelims and early prelims, it's quite long. So 10th of June, so this Saturday. The first one is Marc-Andre Barriel versus Eric Anders. What do you think for that one?
Barriel. I think that he's shown enough to say that I think that it's going to be him quite convincingly.
Yeah, I think Barriel as well. It is going to be quite convincing, but I think only also because Barrial beat Champion Dolce, and I know how good Champion Dolce was like here.
Yeah.
So I think the Barrial one is going to be very convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we said that about the Tim Elliott fight as well in the previous one, but hopefully, let's see what comes. So we're both going with Barrial.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the next fight we got is Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr. What are we thinking for that one?
I think I'm less familiar with these fighters. I've only seen the highlight reels, but I would, just looking at the record, probably say Ige.
Ige.
Yeah, it looks to me like the UFC is trying to push him a little bit. Yeah, I would say Ige.
I'm gonna go with Nate, to be honest with you. Okay. I think Nate. The thing with Nate is like the momentum's on his side. He's also got 3 performance bonuses in his last 3 fights.
Okay.
One was fight of the night, 2 were performance of the night. So yeah, I think that's probably going to be. I mean, all that momentum on your side. I think Ike's he's had a bit of a stop-start.
Yeah.
You know,
he's been around for a while.
Yeah, they've had a couple of stop-start fights in the last little while. So I think for sure Nate for me in this one.
Okay. I do like it when we disagree.
It's good, because then at least it's not so like monotonous, and then we can have a score and tally everything afterwards. So the next fight we got. I always butcher the surnames, so I'm just gonna say, and maybe we should just put the names on the screen and the tail of the tape kind of thing. We got Mike Mallet and Adam Fagad. If I said that correctly, I don't know. I'm bad with these names. What you thinking here?
I think Mike Mallet. I think that he's also on a tear. It looks like he's like it's more of a challenge for him, but I do see him winning. Yeah,
I've also got Mike on this one. I think he's just had a high level of competition, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's. I think the UFC. It seems like the UFC is pushing him as well. I mean, 3rd fight from the top. After 10 or 11 fights is massive. I was looking at, take Cameron for example. Cameron's still on the early prelims in the next UFC, and he's like 8-0 and had solid victories. He's not even on the prelims yet, and this guy's
main card.
Couple of fights in and main card. So I think they're pushing for him to do well, and I believe the hype.
Yeah.
I think he's way more tested. So I'm also going to go with Mike on that one.
Okay.
So we're 2 of them. We've got the same.
I know.
This one I think we might actually have some different opinions. So Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush.
I have Beneil.
Okay.
I think that so it's going to be a tough one for him, because I do think Beneil he gets the W in a lot of these fights by getting to the back. And then I don't know, when he's standing with someone, he's not all that convincing. Usually it's a slugfest, and he doesn't always come out on top. And then what saves him is to get to the back. And you can't do that with Charles.
Yeah.
That's not going to work out. But that being said, I still think that he seems really tough. I think he has so much momentum. I still see him winning.
You do.
And you?
Well, first off, I think what you're saying obviously is 100% valid. It's a very, very tough call, because they both could win this fight, and they both got a lot of ways to win it. But I'm going Charles Oliveira. I think Charles, his only loss in the last couple of fights has been to Islam.
Yeah.
I think also if you look at Beneil's fight with Gamrot,
his last.
I think it was Gamrot, his last fight. Yeah. Gamrot had his moments, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he was wrestling. He was out wrestling him. I think he was just rushing things too much. If he was a little bit more composed, he could have won that fight. So, and Gamrot's relatively, unknown in the UFC, or untested in the UFC. I know he had his days before, and he just tried to rush things.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too convinced with Beneil, but he still got the job done,
Yeah.
But I think Charles Oliveira, it's going to depend where his mindset is.
Yeah, I do agree. I think it's definitely his biggest challenge by far. It's definitely a huge step up.
But then again, he beat tough competition the last while. He beat Gaethje. He beat Dustin.
Oh no, I'm saying a huge step up for Beneil.
Oh, for Beneil. Yes, okay. I was gonna, So it is. Look, I think again, Beneil's one of those guys. It's kind of I hate throwing it out there, but it could be last chance because he is getting there in age.
Yeah, he is.
You know, what does he do if he loses this fight?
Yeah, and to rebuild that, like, the streak. I mean, yeah.
Lightweight's a bit of a strange one because you got Islam, you got Volkanovski wanting to come back and challenge for the title.
Yeah.
You've got Gaethje and Poirier who both lost. I think they both lost to Islam, right?
Yeah, Islam and
Oliveira.
Those are the only two
and
fights.
Khabib.
Yeah.
So they're I mean they're in there and they're always there, but like what does the title picture look like now? When's Islam gonna fight again?
Like how many title shots can you give like Justin and Dustin before like gets like a little bit favoritism? Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I still think that Gamrot, I was very impressed with him. I mean, his only other loss before Beneil, just on a side note, like his only other loss is a split decision loss. And I think he just needs to like be calm and like stick to his game plan. And I think he can be a sort of a dark horse in that in the lightweight division.
There's a few of that, like Paziv as well. I think Paziv, like, I mean, like that fight against Justin, like what is showing. Like he's like really tough. I think him and the other McKinsey, I think McKinney. Like I think that like the younger generation of lightweights, like they're starting to emerge, and like, it's very promising. Like it's still equally as exciting. Yeah, it's such a cool division.
Yeah, lightweight's still gonna be. I mean, but I still want to see Volkanovski and
Islam, of course.
Islam run it back because see, this is another thing now, right? If we go back to that original the Kai Kara France thing, like if you ask Izzy, who won between Volkanovski's not really for a second I was like it's his teammate, but it's actually Rob Whittaker's teammate. But if you look at like Volkanovski on the balance of things, like if you look at the Volkanovski fight with Islam, you left that fight thinking shit, Volkanovski actually like outclassed Islam.
Yeah.
But it's only because of the last two rounds. Actually, particularly that last round.
Yeah.
But on the balance of things, he actually won that fight. So to translate that back to the Kai Kara France thing, I think that's why people still think Kai Kara France won it so handily because he won the last two rounds.
At the very end.
So at the very end,
remember.
And that's what sticks with you.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end of that last round.
Yeah.
So.
But a part of me thinks that those rounds should count like a little bit more, like because at that point, like if you had a 6, I mean that's the closest you're gonna get to it. The fight wouldn't have ended. You know, you end when someone's like. On the floor. But yeah, I don't know. I do understand what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense.
So just back to the Oliveira and Beneil. You're saying Beneil?
Yes, I think Beneil. You say Charles.
I'll say Charles. Charles by submission. You? Beneil by?
Oof. Submission.
What do you think submission?
Yeah, I think submission. I think that would be very impressive. I think that's his best avenue to win, honestly.
Or decision, maybe if he controls the fight for that entire amount of time. Okay, so I'm glad I'm actually glad we disagree on that one because I'm pretty sure we agree on the last fight. Amanda Nunes and Aldana. That's
lamb to the slaughter.
Lamb to the slaughter.
Yeah, it would have been really cool to see Julia Pena versus Amanda again. The first one I know that Amanda had like a really tough camp and that affected her a lot, but like it was just really cool to see Amanda with an actual challenge, and like I don't see that like coming through in this fight. Shame.
You've got to run the third fight. I mean, I think first of all, Juliana Pena earned the third fight by winning. I mean, it's 1-1.
Yeah.
And also the history, and now, with the whole of Mexico behind her as well. I mean, you've seen how passionate the Mexican fans are, and again, it's kind of like you say, having a challenge for Amanda.
Yeah. It's like, how quick is this fight going to be? Yeah.
It would kind of be like the equivalent of, I don't know, John Jones losing a fight. It's like DC and Stipe.
Yeah.
You have to have a third fight.
Yes, yeah.
Even after that second fight, you had to have a third fight. Like, it's automatic.
Yes.
You've got to have them in a row. But obviously, this didn't happen now. Now poor old Donna.
Yeah.
I'm actually worried. Like they say, you don't play MMA And listen, she's a professional in her own right. She's got a skill set in her own right.
And no disrespect.
No, none at all. But I just go back to that fight with Beth Correa, where she was being outstruck by Beth Correa, and she was just like awkward. And I know it's years and years ago.
Yeah.
And she improved herself against Holly Holm. Like,
yeah, that was like a pretty good fight.
It was a massive improvement.
Yeah.
But Holly Holm was also like on the tail end. Like, she's also older.
Yeah.
And I mean, she did lose that quite. I mean, in the end, it was quite quite comfortable for Holly Holm. So Holly Holm is more of a precision puncher than she is a power puncher.
And like Amanda, she can do anything.
Amanda's just. How does USADA not pick her? You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying but I mean, she looks like if there's someone besides Yoel Romero ever that you would be like, how do they pass the USADA test? It's Amanda, because she's so strong and she's like so dominant. You know, nothing else. So the question really is, how long is Aldana going to last? How long do you think she's going to last? Can she stay calm? And composed to make it out of the first round?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be one of the quickest. I'm not going to. I do think less than 30 seconds. I think Amanda's going to rush her, and I think she's going to overwhelm her, and like it'll be over very quickly.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, look, it's if she had a bit better footwork, she could maybe like keep a distance and just not rush in, but. I mean, not get stuck when Amanda rushes in, but like the chances of that happening are just, I mean, the golfing class is just so big. It's, if Aldana wins this fight, I don't know if there would have been a bigger, like, I don't know what the betting odds are.
Yeah.
But like, I'm pretty sure they significantly skewed in Nunes' favor.
Yeah.
Like significantly skewed.
If that does happen, I mean, like it is the fight game. Like anyone can win. Like you can never count anyone out. If that does happen, like whoa, like that would just be like an incredible thing to happen.
Yeah, if that happens, I'm gonna stop predicting fights. Like, I'll stop. Like, I'll say it right now. I'll stop predicting fights. So we're gonna wait until the results are out, and then we're gonna release it so we can cut that out. No, I'm joking. But seriously, like if like I would be so surprised. Like. It would have to be I'm not trying to be funny, whatever. It'd have to be something like she'd have to clip her or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So just on a side note, Benil's actually the betting favorite for the
I did see
for Charles Oliveira fight.
Yeah. I do think he it makes if you look at him on paper, he's coming off like an 8-fight win streak. Like I think he's like I do think he's a smart betting on options. Sorry.
Yeah. So okay, so we've got 5. You going for we've got 2 different results, and then I think we've got 3 of the same. So to be one of us is going to have more.
Yeah.
Well, actually not. Maybe not. Maybe we'll be tied.
Yeah.
Tied like we were last week. Okay, so I think that's a good place to call it. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. As always, please, we're on the grind to 1,000 subscribers as a channel. We're pretty much halfway there, so please would you consider subscribing if you're not subscribed, and have a look at our socials down below. If you'd like to contribute to the channel, we've got Patreon and PayPal links. It just helps to improve the channel, for the podcast as well. Better guests, better everything. And let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you'd like us to discuss something specific, please pop it in there. Until next week, guys, have a good one. Cheers.